The Calrian High Command had calculated everything. Every variable, every possible human response, every flaw in strategy. They had monitored humanity for 3 cycles, cataloging their habits, their irrationalities, their attachments. And they had found the weakness they were certain would turn the war in their favor: sentimentality. When the battle turned against them on Luminara IX, the forest moon wrapped in violet mist and towering bioluminescent trees, the Calrians decided on a drastic measure. They would release Calrian cubs, wild, starving, genetically enhanced for aggression, into the human engineering colonies. Their reasoning was simple: hunger drives instinct, and instinct drives destruction. Commander Dreen watched the first pods pierce the canopy like dark comets, each pod containing 12 cubs deprived of food for 7 rotations. By dawn, he said to his aide, every human in this sector will scatter or be torn apart. The lattice gate construction would halt, and the Calrians would reclaim their territory. What Dreen did not anticipate was the human capacity for improvisation, for empathy. For thousands of years, humans had built civilizations alongside creatures that were neither tame nor obedient. Jace Arden was welding a support strut on Platform 7 when the first pod smashed into the undergrowth 200 meters away. The impact shook the immense violet trees, and sparks from his welding rig flickered and died. He yanked off his mask and peered through the rising smoke. "That's not one of ours," called Myra Solis from the rigging above, her voice sharp with concern. The trajectory was all wrong. The pod had not followed a predictable path. Jace tapped his comm. "Incoming unknown origin requesting." A scream cut him off, piercing and raw. It was not human. Something else, something small and terrified, wrenched at his instincts. He grabbed his toolkit and ran toward the sound, ignoring Myra's shouts. Run toward the problem his instructors had drilled into him. That's how empires are built. The pod had ruptured like a rotten fruit. Inside, curled against the scorched metal shell, was a cub no bigger than a large domestic cat. Its fur shimmered with stripes of deep indigo and silver, matted and dull. Oversized ears pressed flat against its skull. When it saw Jace, it hissed, a sound so small and frightened that it almost broke him. "Hey there," Jace murmured, crouching low. "It's okay, you're safe." The cub bared sharp, needle-like teeth. Its ribs protruded painfully through its thin coat. Someone had starved this creature deliberately. Jace's jaw tightened. This was not cruelty born of desperation. It was calculated. A weapon masquerading as a helpless child. He tore off a piece of nutrition bar from his pocket and held it out. The cub hesitated, then lunged with a mixture of fear and hunger. While it gnawed at the food, Jace scanned the forest floor. A dozen other pods had landed, each one split open, each one eerily empty. "Myra," he said into his comm, "rally everyone. Bring all rations, everything we've got." By the time night fell, the team had located 23 cubs. Some hissed, some clawed, some were too weak to move. The tiniest, no larger than Jace's boot, had collapsed near the foundation of the lattice gate. Jace lifted it gently. It clung to him as if it had no other choice in the world. The engineers formed a circle around the spread of rations, abandoning their tools. Lieutenant Kai Thorne, veteran of 3 campaigns, knelt beside a trembling cub and fed it rehydrated protein paste by hand. "Calrian cubs," said Dr. Lyra Vale, the unit's xenobiologist, her voice low. "The Calrians use them as shock troops when mature. These are barely a month old." "Someone starved them," Jace said, cradling the smallest cub. Its trembling had slowed, replaced by soft, rhythmic purrs, a sound like a misfiring engine struggling to run. "Someone sent bobbies to kill us." "Or to die trying," Myra added, her eyes hard. The cub in Jace's arms opened a single amber eye flecked with green and let out a tiny chirp. In that moment, Jace felt the familiar, wrenching awe he had first experienced when he saw Earth from orbit, fragility and wonder all at once. "Well," he whispered, "they miscalculated." He named the cub Lyra for her curious nature and the way she sniffed at every speck of food. She refused to leave his side, riding on his shoulders or curling in his tool bag. When Jace welded, she watched with wide, amber eyes, pupils dilating with each spark. The other engineers bonded quickly with their cubs. Lieutenant Thorne's cub, Bolt, had already learned to retrieve dropped tools. Dr. Rohan's cub would pace nervously near improperly secured joints, predicting structural instability with uncanny precision. But the cubs needed more than food. They needed challenges. They needed to climb, to explore, to test themselves. "We can't leave them cooped up," Jace told the team at morning briefing. "Boredom will make them feral in ways we can't control." Chin chuckled. "A playground, you mean?" Jace grinned. "Exactly. We're engineers. Building impossible things is what we do." The platforms began simple, a place to climb safely. But simplicity never lasted long with humans. Within a week, the team had constructed a network spanning 12 towering trees, complete with rope bridges, climbing walls, tunnels, and dangling platforms. Lyra adapted immediately, leaping from platform to platform with increasing confidence. The cubs learned to hunt local insect analogs, to navigate the trees, and to test each other. Yet they returned reliably at mealtimes, purring and bringing odd gifts: half-dead bugs, colorful leaves, shiny stones. Jace was installing a pulley system when Lyra bounded up, dropping something at his feet proudly. It was a Calrian scout drone, sparking and broken. "Good girl," he said, scratching behind her ears. Above them, the lattice gate neared completion. Working with the cubs had infused the team with energy and purpose. The Calrians had sent weapons. Humans had made companions. Commander Dreen watched incoming footage, disbelief written across his face. The humans remained. The cubs remained. But no attack had occurred. The camera showed engineers building elaborate structures as cubs played in the branches, one learning to swing on ropes, another fetching tools in a playful game. "This is impossible," Dreen hissed. "Starving, feral cubs should have been tearing humans apart." "They fed them," the aide said quietly, "and built them playgrounds." Dreen's scales rippled. "Why?" "Perhaps," the aide murmured, "that is the difference between us and them. We see weapons, they see children." 3 weeks later, the lattice gate activated. The first thing to cross was neither armor nor supplies. It was a message to Earth, a video file. It showed Jace Arden sitting, cross-legged, on a platform 200 meters above the forest floor. Lyra curled in his lap, while 22 other cubs played in the most elaborate treehouse complex ever constructed by human hands. "Dear Earth," Jace said into the camera, "we've made friends, they'll need homes. Thought you'd like to know." Lyra yawned, revealing sharp teeth, then nuzzled him, purring softly. The Calrians had tried to weaponize innocence. The humans had built a future where even an enemy's children could play. That day, the Calrian High Command began to comprehend the true meaning of humanity. Subscribe to the channel to make the stories even more exciting.